Hey there, Soul Tribe. It is the Joy Healer, Kathy Weiss here. I use my gifts as an intuitive, clairvoyant, and source energy channel to help you find deep fulfillment and lasting freedom at the level of your soul, which is joy. And I'm coming to you live from my reading room here on the Central Coast of California. I have your weekly energy reading for the week of March 30th through April 5th, 2020. And as we dive in today, our main topic is going to be around feelings of feeling lonely or feeling alone. Please stay with the messages if you're not feeling lonely or alone, because someone you know and love is. And as you listen today and you're like, this isn't resonating, these messages aren't for me this week, Kathy, that's okay. There are many, many people in the collective who are feeling this way and who are needing the messages, and you're being called to share this video with people you know and love who might be feeling alone or lonely. As we move into today's messages, number one, I wanted to point out to you, I'm wearing turquoise today. And turquoise is one of the first known stones that healers used for healing, like the ancient ones, like ancient Egypt and probably even before that. And I just felt really strongly drawn to it today because it has such history as a healing property, and because it has such an earthiness to it. It feels very grounding and like almost, I know this is going to sound a little weird, but it almost like a minerally taste in my mouth. It has a heavierness to it than crystals, without being like super heavy and dense. And the turquoise is, number one, super protective. And what I'm also hearing for you guys is that if you do have any turquoise, to wear it or keep it nearby this week, because it's going to help you have a newfound sense of clarity in your life that is unknown to you so far. So turquoise is definitely the healing property I would recommend that you keep nearby or around you for the week. And if you want more information on that, let me know. But I'm feeling really guided to move into some energy healing before we talk about the alone situation. So if you would like to receive energy healing today, all you have to do is have your hands in an open, receptive position. That might be open and receptive right towards the camera like me. It could mean just palms open on your lap or by your sides. If you're new to energy healing or it doesn't feel like something you'd like to receive today, very easy. Just softly close your hands or rest them palm face down somewhere on your body. This section is really short, so if you're not receiving, it's not like you're gonna, sit there forever before we get into the other good stuff today. So let's have some energy healing. Place yourself receptive or not. Now, as I start to draw in that, it's like the divine white light. It's just like that pure white divine light. It's very clear white, though. It's a white light today. And what I'm hearing for you is that it is very strong in its healing properties, physically healing of physical ailments, bringing you a sense of relief and lightness in your physical body. You might feel a sense of warmth or tingling in your hands. I definitely feel both of those and a little bit of a pulsing sensation. You might not. It's not uncommon for you to not notice or be aware of energy healing, so know that it works whether you have some sort of physical sensation awareness or not. As we move towards the end, I get a sense more of like a clear prism and the way the light fractures into a rainbow, because each of those colors is contained within the white light, and they each have a separate healing property. So receive the different frequencies of healing for your physical body, your emotional body, your breath body, your heart, and your mind. Okay, and our healing is complete for now. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening in the collective energy. It's important to remember that in a collective, that means a lot of people are feeling a certain way, creating a rising energy field or rising emotion. It doesn't mean every single individual is feeling every single thing. That's why these collective messages are really helpful, as are individual one-on-one messages. They sort of work together in harmony to create a healing package for you. And like I mentioned at the top of the video, if you missed it, today's messages might be for you, or they might be for someone you know and love. So please listen. And if you're like, this isn't resonating with me, you're meant to share it with someone who you love very much. Because this morning, I thought we were going to be talking about stress and the collective stress. And when I tuned in, I instantly felt alone. I felt so alone, and it felt so heavy in my heart, and I felt sad. And just over and over in my mind, I kept hearing alone, alone, alone. And it's like, okay, Source, we need to address that feeling of loneliness or being alone right now for people. And I was reminded of a few key elements that you need to hear. The feeling of alone rises because there is no one else on the planet who's having the same internal experience of the world as you. It is impossible for any other human to feel and experience the world as you do, because you are an individual stream of the collective energy. So whether you are surrounded by other people, or whether you are truly alone, as in you're solitary, there's no other people around you, those conditions have nothing to do with whether you feel alone or not. So today's messages are for the people who are experiencing a sense deep inside of nobody understanding it, nobody getting it, nobody, just like there's just nobody. Like that's just the feeling I get. Like I just feel this vast, empty nobodiness that's really heavy. So I really wanted to understand from Source what you can do to soothe that, because instantly behind the word alone and the feeling of alone, what I heard for all of us is you are never alone. You are never alone. And here's why: because you are always with Source. Your guides are always with you. Source energy is always with you. As a matter of fact, you are Source energy. You are the divine bursting forth through you as you. You can't ever be separate from it. You can sometimes ignore it and not listen to it or feel it, but that is always there. So you're never ever alone, but what you feel is that disconnection. And Source says to you, the way to get reconnected is through prayer. Prayer is the way that you speak to that which is greater than you, whether you want to call it Source or the universe or God or the divine, or I call it the cosmic jellyfish sometimes. It doesn't matter. And prayer can sometimes get some of us like, I don't pray, whatever. Okay, here's what Source is saying. Do what feels like a prayer to you. For in that moment, your heart is pure, and in that moment, you are fully connected to guides and Source and that pure positive energy. So for some of us, prayer looks like we sit down and we pray. We speak or think our prayers to that which we love. Some of us write our prayers. But for some of us, we need to do what feels like a prayer. So here's an example. There are times in my yoga practice where I feel like every movement and every breath is a prayer or an offering, and it makes my whole entire yoga experience more holy. What conjures that feeling for you? Is it movement? Is it dance? Is it song? Is it writing? Is it baking? What feels like a prayer to you? And if you can get into your heart and either actually, no, there are, let me change those words, please. Whether you pray, hands together speaking, or writing in your prayer journal, or you do something that is the feeling of prayer, movement, sitting and watching the ocean, singing a song, creating something, being in a place of prayer is how you connect to source. And when you are connected to source, the feeling of alone dissipates. And remember, alone doesn't mean lots of people or no people. Alone is an internal sensation. And so through connecting to source, that feeling of alone dissipates. And it is a little bit of a challenge. I feel like I'm throwing down a challenge to you right now because some of us don't know what feels like a prayer to us. Some of us don't know, or some of us have forgotten that those moments, those holy moments that feel like prayer, are the most sincere offerings that we can have and the most sincere and deep connection to source that we can actually have. So this week, your guidance from source is to connect to source through an offering that feels like prayer. Dance, sing, create, write, sit, meditate, pray, watch the ocean, take a hike. Do what feels like a holy offering to the universe. And any feelings you have of alone, sad, heavy are going to dissipate into the connection with source. So let's have an oracle card today. And if you're just tuning in, I did start off with some energy healing today and talking about the energy of turquoise, which is a really powerful healing stone. So make sure you go back and catch the beginning after we have today's oracle card. I'm just giving them a little bit of a shuffle because I did just use this deck in a private session. And remember, if these messages of feeling alone aren't resonating with you, they are meant to be shared with someone this week. So please honor someone you love very much and pass these messages along. Oh, can you guys see that I'm starting to get really warm too? That's like a big indicator of the intensity of the messages. Give me a second. I'm like, where is today's card? It is this one down at the bottom of the deck. I wanted to be sure. Okay. So this is Our Lady of Soul Birth. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm like so hot right now. So there's a lot of really strong energy flowing through for you. Hey, Hannah. Oh, nice to see you live today too, Hannah. So in this card, you're invited to either look at the images or the words and see what resonates for you. And with Our Lady of Soul Birth, I feel like the whole world right now is going through some bit of a rebirth or a reawakening. But for you on an individual level, what I'm hearing is like you're being reminded of that tapping in to that tapping in of the your highest nature and your highest good. I'm like, oh my God, I wish I had like a ponytail holder. It's so hot in here with the strength of the messages today. So you're really being asked to rekindle your connection to your heart and to source. Because when you're in that place, not only are you never alone, you're really being who you were meant to be in the world. And you are really creating value in the world because all of your value comes from your heart and from you trusting and tuning in and tapping into your heart and living from that place. So with Our Lady of Soul Birth, it's like most of us haven't learned that yet, or we're learning it now. We're starting to learn that our value is not the dollars in the bank account. Our value isn't the number of followers on social media. Our value isn't in the job description that we've given ourselves. Our value is tuning into our heart and expressing ourselves into the world from that place. And I promise you, every time you go to your heart, and you do what feels like a prayer, and you do what feels like joy, and you do what feels good, the world is elevated. So the soul birth that you're being invited into, if you choose, is the rebirth of your heart into the world. And to see and recognize the value of that, not based on external measurements, but based on deep, deep, deep internal satisfaction every day of every moment of your life. That's the rebirth you're being invited into. And I feel like, with you guys right now, like that's the rebirth you're being invited into. You're not being invited into anything but being in your heart. Boom. Period. Let's check out the guidebook so that I can get out of here and cool down, because the messages are so strong today. Please share them with someone you know and love, because the feeling of alone is very pervasive in the collective energy, even if you personally aren't feeling alone right now. Okay, so this beautiful card says that she understands that becoming a divinely awakened human being is raw, and it's wild, and it's beautiful, and there may be some suffering, but the divine feels great compassion, and we are empowered to take that journey with fearless faith in divine protection and guidance. If there is anything I can say to you, is like the deeper you can trust the wisdom flowing through you into your heart, into that place that feels like prayer, that feels like joy, that feels like freedom, everything else lines up for you. Everything you need, everything you desire, all arrives when you come into that pure place from your heart. One more thing, this oracle comes with a special message. Somewhere in your life, in your relationships, or within yourself, you have been holding back. Amen. Trust me, even for me, where have we been holding back as a collective, as individuals? And you're doing so because you're afraid that what you want or how you want to be in the world isn't acceptable. So what Mother Mary says is that she loves you and she wants you to blossom, and to don't try to stop the flow of love. Take the steps forward that you have been questioning, and don't be afraid, because there is only your great connection to source to discover. There is only your great connection to source to discover at the end of the day. You all are so wonderful, and I love and value you so much. Thanks for tuning in. Know that, again, on the spiritual level, you are not alone. If on the human plane you are feeling alone and you need connection, message me. I opened up some space in my schedule this week and next week for anyone who just wants to hang out and talk, to have a free 20-minute phone call talk. I won't deliver messages or guidance or healing, but I am happy to be here to just hang out and have a conversation with you, and hold some space. So if you need a link to schedule that, you can ask me for that. It'll also come in today's newsletter. And I'm just sending you so much love and compassion. And I'm right here walking through this new time with you guys. I'm hearing that we're complete, and we'll be seeing each other again soon with more messages. So I love you. I value you. I will see you soon. Bye-bye. Namaste.